Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Cocktail Classified. You got Patrick here with my friend Jonathan and Pam. Welcome in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Okay, well, I am the founder and owner of the Cocktail Guru.
Yeah.
It is a beverage consulting firm that's been around since 2006. We turn 21 next year. We're legal.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
We're going to have some big festivities.
It's been legal in Canada, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
okay.
been legal in Canada for 3 years already.
Heard that.
And so with my company, I do several different aspects in the hospitality world. I do bar consulting, setting up bars for restaurants and lounges. We do cocktail team building events for corporations all across the country.
Yep.
We do, bachelorette mixology, bachelor mixology. We do special events. We do brand work. And I do TV segments, and I have a podcast called The Cocktail Guru Show.
Yeah, of course. I forget
my dad.
that podcast. Yeah,
with my dad.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Awesome. And what about you, Pam?
So I'm based in New York City, and I've been working with Jonathan, like 14 years.
12 to 14 years.
Yeah, somewhere, we don't know the exact start date, but I do beverage consulting work. So I work in everything from events, like cool tastings, guru work, to media segments. Basically, everything I do is for the home consumer and for the consumer itself.
Yeah.
So I work with brands on marketing, strategy, innovation of products, drink development, cocktail curation. I feel like anything that on-site events, anything that touches a consumer in the end, I'm there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, how long have you been doing that? For a couple of years, right?
Like mostly since I stopped bartending, like 2018 from behind bars onward.
You were behind bars.
Yeah.
I was behind bars, locked me up.
Yeah. How long were you a bartender?
I bartended in college a little bit. I was in the Columbia Bartending Academy.
Yeah.
And that was like 2006, 2007 to 2018 active bartending.
Yeah.
And then more like special events and like one-offs and my consulting days after.
Awesome. All in New York? Because kind of in New
All
York.
over.
Okay.
Yeah.
If there's a plane, train, automobile, or boat,
Yep.
I'll go.
Yeah. What was your most notable bars or notable city that you worked in?
New York City.
New York
so
was,
I was one of the first hires at Dead Rabbit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
That's cool.
ba-bum.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That probably was a fun opening too. Yeah. We go.
Not the adjective I would use.
I got you. No.
But it was, very inspiring and really learned a lot.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good. That's good.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And you've bartended as
Yes,
well,
I
right?
started bartending in New York City as well in 2001.
Okay.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
I was 21. I was a baby. And I was trained actually before that by Gaz Regan,
Okay.
my mentor, and my dad, who's also in the industry. It gave me confidence to get my first job in a bar at the Russian Tea Room in New York City, fine dining. And then I moved on to cocktail bars, dive bars, big events. And then I stopped bartending. It's been 15 years now.
Yep.
And then the Cocktail Guru became full-time about 15 years ago.
That's awesome.
Fun fact, when Jonathan was the head of the beverage director for Hospitality Holdings,
Yes.
which is a huge group in New York City, they were doing some like the preeminent cocktails back in the day. I would get off my bar shift at a sports bar and I'd want to go see my friend who worked as a bartender in one of his bars because I knew they made proper old fashions and good drinks. And I was told it's like Jonathan Pogash who headed up the programs, but I didn't know him at the time.
Okay.
So I was like seeking his cocktails before ever meeting him, which is so funny to think about full circle.
Yeah.
That's very sweet, Pam. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I
I
mean-
forget about that.
I don't.
Thanks for
It was
reminding me.
iconic.
Is that Campbell Apartment?
Campbell
Carnegie Club?
Apartment, yeah, any of those places.
Campbell Apartment is not under their purview anymore. It's called the Campbell, and it's one of the Gerber Group lounges now. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Awesome. So you kind of have overseen big programs.
Yeah, oversaw. That was the biggest. That was in 2005. They hired me to be their director of cocktail development. So I helped them open up a lounge called Bookmarks at the roof of the Library Hotel.
The best.
Yeah.
You always you can get some of the best cocktails at Bookmarks.
Yeah, down the street from the New York Public Library.
Okay.
And then they put me in the direction of the 6 to 7 other lounges that they had. We opened up in 2010, not 2009. We opened up the first cocktail bar in the Empire State Building
That's where my friend worked.
in decades. It was.
Yeah.
Called the Empire Room. And that was huge.
Yeah.
That was a historic moment. It lasted a few years. It closed, unfortunately. But so that was a really cool experience.
Okay. Perfect. And then from Dead Rabbit, where else have you gone? from there? Like, what is, I guess, what is the number 2 now? I'm curious.
From Dead Rabbit, I went. So I was working at some other like little bars on the side. What's now Subject in Lower East Side was a place called Lubli, and I worked
Lubli?
there. Lubli, and
That's fun to say.
it was so fun. I did lots of great mixology things there.
Yeah.
But I went from Dead Rabbit to a bar called Seamstress that was on the Upper East Side, and I was there for like 3.5 years. Iconic people have come through it, like Crystal Chassis, Luis Hernandez, Alan, who's the Terramana ambassador.
Yeah,
He was one of our people. Like, we've had these powerhouses of people who are on our team now doing incredible things in the world. Eloy, who heads up Dante. So they all worked with us.
Okay, cool.
And then we closed kind of right before the pandemic, and I had a few other jobs, and then the pandemic hit and everything changed and shifted.
Yeah, everything shifted, right?
Yeah.
For all of us, right?
Yeah.
Everything. It was insane.
Did that, is that when Cocktail Guru kind of grew a little bit more from the...
Actually, you are correct. Yeah. You know, I pinch myself because that was not the case for most people. And I hustled, and, you know, I had an email from someone in April of 2020. They said, "Can you do a virtual event for my team?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Probably." And so I did my first virtual cocktail class. And then a month later, someone said, "Can you make cocktail box kits and send them to us?"
Yeah.
I said, "I guess." And so I figured out how to do it. I said yes before I actually knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And then my business grew 300% from March 2020 to probably January 2022.
Yeah.
And then it's funny because during that time, we thought, wow, this is an amazing new revenue stream. This is going to be permanent now. We can do this. It didn't really end up being that way. You know, after in 2023, things started coming back, and in person, we did a ton of in-person events before the pandemic. But it's great because the in-person came back. The virtual took a little bit of a back seat. Yeah. We still do some virtual events, but I don't really send out cocktail kits anymore. But it's still a good mix now. And I'm glad, obviously, that the in-person is there. So, yeah.
Awesome.
I just did one for him 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
I will toot Jonathan's horn a lot right now. The pandemic was a really hard time where so many of us were saying, how are we going to stay employed? If it was not for Jonathan Pogash and like growing the Cocktail Guru and doing all this, there was a big chunk of us, like handful of us, who got so much opportunity and work opportunity through him. He was booking so many of us around the country to do this that he's a big reason a lot of us were able to sustain and have an income for a year. So like he's very humble about it, but a lot of people that you know in the industry that you adore and do great things, we all have him to thank.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pam, you're too much.
I'm just going to do it. I'm going to embarrass you so you turn red.
Yeah. And that's awesome. Like with us, we were opening night shift at the time.
Yeah.
And we were trying to, and then pandemic hit. So we had to pivot
and
make sure we were taking care of, and then the staff that we had, we were taking care of. So we started doing kind of something similar.
Yeah.
And doing the cocktails to go.
Yeah.
So it was, it was definitely was a big market during that. And we are also seeing a downtick in that as well on our side.
Yeah.
So it's
natural. Fine. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
It's just part of the world, and we're always trying to figure out what we can do next.
Yeah, for sure.
But innovating and adapting.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do.
That's all,
always learning.
3 of us at this table. Just
I really
adapting and making it happen.
I really miss this moment in the pandemic, like deep in that first summer where the cocktails were happening in New York, and we got these quart containers, not even kidding, a frozen margarita from Cowgirl in the West Village. And they just would sell you this with a straw in it, and you would just march on the street with this huge 32 ounces of frozen marg, and you're like...
Because you could drink it on the street,
Yeah,
too?
we were just... And it was lawless.
Yeah.
You could just do anything you wanted. So
I was going to say, it was pretty lawless time.
It was pretty hysterical.
Yeah, and you know, the cocktail box kits, I mean, I partnered with some retailers in Florida mainly, and they told me they were able to do it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So it was an interesting time.
So Guru's been around for 21. It's going to be 21 years.
Coming up on 21. Yes.
Awesome. So how did you start into kind of the Guru? What kind of pushed you into, hey, we're going to start this?
Yeah. Well, I was bartending full time in New York, and then I had this side hustle where I was doing brand work, mostly pre-batching cocktails for big events, and then training the catering bartenders on how to just shake it and serve it.
Yeah.
And so I was making money. And then, you know, people were coming to my bar, brands were coming to my bar. They were saying, can you design cocktails for me for my new brand? And at first I did it for free. And then I thought maybe I should start charging for it. And then, I created this little side hustle. So it was, you know, maybe 1 to 2 days a week. And then I was bartending 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I slowly scaled back the bartending because my then fiance, now wife, we had moved in together, and didn't want to come home so late, 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
until it was like one night a week of bartending and then mostly cocktail guru. Then we decided to leave New York and move to Massachusetts in her hometown, Southeast Mass, start a family, buy a house. And then I took the plunge in just 2011 full time. And it was literally, we were talking about this before at our seminar we did here at Julep. It was literally like taking a plunge into the open water. I had no idea. So I hustled again. It was like starting from scratch.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then this question's for you, Pam. So you work more on consumer focused marketing?
I do a lot of like if it touches the consumer, I'm in. I'm there.
So what are some of the trends that because we haven't covered this with some of the other podcasts. So what are the trends you're seeing right now from brands doing on your perspective? What are they having?
I think the biggest shifts right now is just really seeing drinking patterns, right? We're all talking about like Gen Z is consuming not in the same capacity, I will say, as millennials. Now, it's not to say that they're not going to, there's going to be an uptick. I think a lot of them are still learning a little bit because the pandemic did sever some of those years that they normally would. But the no and low movement, especially the no movement, so big. I do a lot of non-alc. I do a lot of work with cannabis companies. Okay. So there's this huge need for drinks at these events, a lot of times non-alc, and they want someone who understands flavors to work with something that also has flavor. And so there's this whole ability to incorporate the drinks that we do in areas that are not bars themselves. So I do a lot of stuff with fashion houses. I do a lot of stuff with theater, like in New York. I do a lot of stuff with law firms. Like you would have no idea, but what we see what everybody wants to do and what these brands want to do is brands know they got the trade. They know they have hospitality. They got that. Now they're saying, how do we touch other areas? And all they're doing is looking to say, how can we pair this liquid with another industry and put it together? And my like sweet spot that I've always done is I've been able to have this great network and say, I can put you together. Yeah. And I think that artistry of seeing how it all combines is really what the next step is for these brands. So they're looking for those marketing opportunities to say, how do we innovate, show our artistry in other areas? And that's where it's all been really exciting for like the next steps. Yeah. Yeah. That's for awesome. Consumer engagement.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely low and no is here to stay. I think
low and no
it's going to be here.
Low and no is going to stay for sure. And I think explorations of new flavors, I think intentionality is really big. You can Google anything in a second. ChatGPT can tell you if someone said some BS statement. I saw a guy on the internet the other day say, añejo tequilas aren't good for women because they can't process it in their bodies. And I literally went on his thing and was like, buddy, there's no science to back that. Like, and everybody started calling BS. Yeah. But we can call BS like we used to not in the past. So you got to be really honest and transparent. Yeah. So they're looking for honesty, transparency, good morals and values with companies themselves. Yeah. I think all of that is in play.
Yep. Transparency is definitely very important in today's market.
These are the trends that we're looking for, like how things come together, transparency.
Yeah, for sure. So this question is for both of you. So if someone is getting into brand work, what advice would each of you give to them on how to work with brands? Because, bartenders, we have sometimes have our own vibe that might not vibe with certain brands. How do you navigate that? Or like, what advice would you give to someone?
Well, when I was first starting out, I had to kind of change my brain from bartender brain to business brain. So by business brain, I mean knowing how to respond to emails, email etiquette, being organized, not being afraid to ask for what you want, but also brands need to know what they can get in return. So if you're creating a pitch to a brand that you want to do an event or you want to do a cocktail festival, you want to do a happy hour, lay out clearly, what am I going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah. What's going to happen at this event? Yeah. And then what's the ROI? It's all about ROI. And then following up and not being afraid to throw yourself out there and to, ask. Basically what I'm saying is don't be afraid to ask brands to support you for an event that you want to do. That is one of the biggest pieces of advice I would say.
Basically know your worth.
Know your worth. Yes. Also don't undervalue yourself because then it kind of screws everyone else up in the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
And you want to make a career out of it. You want to sustain it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What about you?
I'd say the biggest thing is authenticity. So if something doesn't feel right, don't go for it. Like there's a lot of brands that approach Jonathan, there's a lot of brands that approach myself. And sometimes I just say pass. Like this is not for me. I don't believe in this or it doesn't align with me. But just remember, just because it doesn't align with you doesn't mean it might align with someone else. So my biggest PowerPoint, and I say this, that when things stay within community, it's like high tides raise all ship, right? Yeah. When you stay within community, you all grow stronger.
Yep.
So when I say it's not for me, here are 3 people that I think would be perfect for this opportunity. You've now gifted that opportunity to somebody else. They're doing great. When something comes to them that's not right for you, they're going to give it back to you.
Yeah.
We need to do more of that because the gatekeeping is also what's
Mm-hmm.
a huge issue, especially with brand things. We're seeing a lot of brands go to the exact same people over and over again. So I say to brands, diversify, like truly diversify and start thinking outside of that. Find the new talent.
Yeah.
Like you've seen a lot of our names. Keep working with us in some capacity, but what are the new people? Because there's a brand out there that has been enticing these same people who go on every trip, every opportunity. There's a bartender who's gotten never an opportunity. If you're the first brand to touch them ever in their life, they will be loyal to you to the end of time.
Yep.
There's a Pisco company that I am forever loyal to. They took me on my first trip in 2013.
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever say a bad thing about that company because they gave me something I've dreamed about, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think that you nailed it on the head right there.
That's a good point.
That's a very good point because brand, love working with brands, but sometimes the marketing teams get hyper focused and fixated on like the influencers and like not knocking influencers. Like everybody's worked hard to get where they're at. It's like they're overlooking the other people, the new people that are coming in that are also doing a great job.
Yeah. And also I say to the bartenders, the biggest thing is for brands is like make yourself a brand.
Yeah.
If you want to get more into this work, Jonathan has a brand. I have a very strong brand. But if your brand has no identity, if you're like, I'm a bartender, do this, great. But what's your brand?
Yeah.
Then you're not, they don't want to work with you.
Right.
So brand has an identity. You need an identity as well. Yeah. Find it. Make yourself your own niche.
Yeah, that's another good point too, is like making sure you're branding yourselves right, because we are a big industry, but we're also very tight knit and very small.
Yeah.
I think people forget about that sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like they'll do something and it gets back to someone else that's in another city, or like it goes around. Like it goes
Be
real quick.
careful
right?
where you speak. Don't speak shit in bars.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Someone's always there. They always say at a Broadway show, never talk about the show when you're in the theater or even at a bars or areas right around.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's around you.
Yeah. That's a good point too. And then make sure you're very intentional with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. Cool. Awesome. So we talked a little bit about that. So let's talk a little bit more about how you do these cocktail programs. So like the cocktail kits and stuff like that. How are you able to scale it at that point? So like
The cocktail kits themselves?
kits and then like the programming you do, the events you do, how do you
Well, the
plan for that?
cocktail kits were definitely like just a pandemic thing. So
Yeah.
we don't really do the cocktail kits anymore. But I use the network of people that I know around the country to be able to tap into markets where I know that there's a great bartender or there's a great company that does similar work to mine. And if I get a request for an event in a random city that I can't personally go to, I won't decline it. I will say, I want to do this. I think the company can do it. So I'll find someone, I'll tap into that market and I will offer the work to them.
Yeah.
But it'll still be under the purview of the cocktail guru in a way. So it's almost like, I'm getting paid to not be there, but I've got someone really great, someone really personable, someone who can do it, represent my brand, so that I don't have to say no to that client.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's how I've been able to scale, the overall like cocktail classes, the team building, mixology, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And you kind of just maintain your brand, right? Because we work with you and I've seen your decks and stuff. So it's kind of how you've maintained and scaled.
Right. But I allow flexibility for those individual people to kind of obviously tell everyone what they do and what they're a part of.
Yeah, for sure. And you're part of the guru now too, right? You work.
I've been a guru for like almost 14 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've been
maybe more.
than that.
2011.
It could
I
be
think it's
more.
been 15 years.
Yeah. So you also go to the different cities, or do you like together? You just branch.
We've both we've done things together.
Okay.
Like we are here in Houston.
Yeah.
And then Pam has done stuff just her or with other members of my team.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah, it's a scalable model. And that way also, like, again, creating opportunity, generating economic opportunity for other people is so important, to be in a leadership position to do that. And also trusting your team members to then disseminate that with other people.
Yeah.
Grows you and makes you much more of like a leader and a pioneer in an area where we don't always see that model.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great model.
It is.
It's perfect. Thanks. Awesome. Well, where can people follow you? If someone wants to reach out.
Yeah.
I will follow him. Follow him wherever he
on my Instagram at the Cocktail Guru, and on TikTok, where people like to watch me eat food, It's kind of crazy. Is the Cocktail Guru team.
Okay. Okay.
People like to watch me eat bagels.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is, man.
We love watching a Jew eat a bagel.
That's what it is. Yeah. And then the website, thecocktailguru.com. And then the pod is thecocktailgurushow.com.
Perfect. And is it on all the streaming channels?
All of them.
Perfect.
All of them.
Perfect. And Pam, where can people follow you at?
A lot of my stuff is on Instagram. So at Pam Wiz, and then on LinkedIn, obviously Pamela Wiznitzer, and also same on TikTok. You'll find me there. Yeah, I put most of my information and things on there that I do. So, which is really exciting. And then, see down the road what pops off.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I do follow you both and definitely recommend people following you because there's useful information.
Useful and unhinged is my motto.
Useful and unhinged. Wow.
Yeah, it's realistic.
Yeah.
It's realism.
I try to keep it fun.
Yeah,
if I'm
keep
not
going,
making you laugh, I don't think there's a full purpose to it all the time.
Yeah.
You have very interesting Instagram videos.
Thanks. That's the whole point.
Yeah, for sure. And we like to end the show with one key point you guys want to bring across. What key point would you like our listeners to take home from this episode?
Pam.
I think this is my favorite point I tell people. I don't like to do anything these days unless there's a collaborative moment.
Yep.
I think the power of collaboration and the power of working in teams that you really trust strengthen you and give you a bigger platform, a bigger name, and you learn so much in that dynamic. So what has been so great with the way Jonathan has done the Cocktail Guru team is that very often, it's never solo. He will bring in the right team member to work with him on each thing. We all have different skill sets, and that collaborative moment has allowed him to shine,
Yep.
I think, where other people fail with their consulting companies. So I tell everyone these days, why you got an ego? Collaborate.
Yep.
You'll be better when you have other people in the room with you that you trust, and guarantee each your strengths together and skills together will just make it more dynamic.
I say take care of yourself. I did not for a very long time. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress, but take care of your mental health, your physical health, because it's much harder to take care of people on the other side of the bar when you're not taking care of yourself.
Sure. Great points.
Today, Jonathan took care of himself by putting on facial moisturizer with SPF.
My gosh.
That's good.
You're getting into the facial routine.
That's good.
Facial
I made him do it.
There you go, there you go.
Can you tell?
I know. Look, your face is beautifully
Is it glowing?
shiny. Yeah, it looks
there you
hydrated and plump and
Love
succulent.
it.
Plump and succulent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the name of my next bar.
Plump and
It's
succulent.
a great bar name.
Anything with an ampersand, right?
Plump and
Yeah.
succulent, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all both for being
Thank
on today. I know this is a
you.
power episode, and thank you to Julep and Alba for hosting us today.
Yes, thank you, Julep
Yeah.
and
To the
Alba.
whole team at
For sure.
Julep. Thank you. Thank
Awesome.
you to
Well,
you.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, Patrick.
Awesome, y'all. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Follow us on the usual socials, and we'll see you next week.